The iconic yellow taxis of New York City find themselves in an existential crisis due to the rise of app-based ride-sharing services like Uber and Lyft. According to the report of Daily News, regular ridership for yellow cabs has declined over 50% since 2013, decimating driver incomes and medallion values. However, through technological innovation, service improvements, and regulatory changes, yellow taxis can adapt and survive in the rapidly evolving transportation landscape. The coming years will determine if this iconic symbol of NYC can reinvent itself and compete in the age of ride-hailing. Yellow taxis have been an integral mode of urban transportation in New York City for over a century, until the mass manufacture of internal combustion engines made it possible to convert to motorized cab fleets in the early 20th century. Horse-drawn carriages dominated the early taxi industry, as reported by Time magazine. The iconic colors and branding quickly became ingrained into the city's identity. However, the medallion system implemented in 1937 under Mayor LaGuardia truly transformed the taxi industry. The Haas Act introduced about 13,000 taxi medallions to cap the supply of cabs and address destabilizing overcompetition during the Great Depression. These medallions gave yellow taxis exclusive rights to pick up street hails. Though initially sold for just $10, the value of the limited medallions later skyrocketed to over $1 million each by 2014, according to CNBC. The medallion system formalized its role as the predominant provider of on-demand transportation across the 5 boroughs. For decades, it dominated the streets and became deeply interwoven into the urban fabric of New York City. They served a diverse ridership of commuters, tourists, business travelers, and city residents. Nevertheless, the industry still faced many challenges over the years. Violent crime in the 70s and 80s, driver exploitation, and structural inequalities in service between Manhattan and the outer boroughs, according to Time magazine's coverage. The limited supply of medallions also constrained innovation and labor rights. But yellow taxis are still very popular and important in NYC's transportation system. The technological revolution in ride-hailing fundamentally disrupted the taxi industry's longtime stronghold on street hails and on-demand rides in NYC. Uber arrived in 2011, and Lyft followed in 2014, leveraging mobile apps and network efficiencies to provide taxi-like convenience at lower costs than traditional cabs, per Entrepreneur's report. The meteoric rise in popularity of transportation network companies like Uber and Lyft were fueled by several factors, including convenience and accessibility. With a few taps on a smartphone, e-hail rides can be requested, and drivers can be dispatched to the user's location in a matter of minutes. This increased accessibility compared to waiting to hail a street taxi. Affordability, dynamic pricing models, enabled more affordable options compared to yellow taxi meter rates for many common trips. Promotions and pooling options further reduced costs. Customer experience, features like driver ratings, GPS tracking of rides, and cashless transactions improved the overall user experience compared to taxis. Reduced drunk driving. The availability of Uber and Lyft is credited with reducing drunk driving incidents as parties chose ride shares over driving themselves home at night. Reduced personal car ownership. By providing convenient access to rides, Uber and Lyft reduced the need to own a personal vehicle, thereby decreasing cars on the road. The convenience, pricing, and technology innovations enabled Uber and Lyft to gain market share rapidly. They leveraged network effects and mobile technology to reshape user transportation habits and preferences. By 2019, they facilitated over 700,000 daily rides in NYC compared to just 252,000 for yellow cabs, a monumental shift as stated in the Daily News. The rise of Uber and Lyft proved devastating for the yellow taxi industry. The average monthly income per medallion dropped from $14,400 in 2013 to $9,100 in 2019, reflecting a 36% decrease over just 6 years, as reported by the Daily News. With fewer street hails, drivers had to wait longer between fares, reducing hourly earnings. many struggle to earn minimum wage and pay their leasing fees after gas and other expenses. For individual owner-operators like Richard Chow, who had invested $700,000 to purchase a medallion in 2010, the crisis was even more devastating, according to CNBC. As demand evaporated, medallion values nosedived from over $1 million in 2014 to just $140,000 in 2019. Drivers who owed hundreds of thousands in loans on what was once a sound investment suddenly faced financial ruin, according to Yahoo Sports. The medallion crisis took a heartbreaking human toll. Over 6 drivers committed suicide in 2018 as they fell into crushing debt.
A yellow cab driver has been found dead of an apparent suicide in his Brooklyn home. It is the 6th cab driver's suicide in recent months.
Thousands more faced bankruptcy and poverty as legacy investments were wiped out. The predatory lending practices and inflated bubble in medallion prices in prior years exacerbated the collapse, as highlighted by CBS New York. Years of regulatory limitations on medallion supply also constrained innovation and taxi service quality as the industry struggled to respond. Yellow cabs ceded market share to Uber and Lyft without the ability to rapidly expand supply or implement tech improvements. Changing consumer preferences accelerated this decline. According to Ondi.app, taxi companies can leverage technology like online advertisements, taxi apps, dispatch software, and digital loyalty programs to streamline operations and attract riders. They suggest services like caffeine marketing to promote the brand through social media and target specific customer segments. Developing a user-friendly taxi app can also help drivers communicate with customers for a smooth experience. Additionally, modern dispatch software efficiently handles bookings, routing, tracking, and payments. Digital loyalty programs encourage repeat business by rewarding frequent riders. Overall, embracing innovation and technology is key for taxis to differentiate themselves and regain relevance. The New York Times reports that Uber has teamed up with 2 New York City taxi technology companies, Curb and Creative Mobile Technologies, to allow riders to book yellow cabs through the Uber app. While Uber initially fought the taxi industry, this partnership provides revenue opportunities for both companies and expands options for riders. However, the Taxi Workers Alliance argues the deal could reduce fares for drivers. They urge negotiating proper terms to protect driver earnings. Still, some see the collaboration as an opportunity for taxis to increase their reach. According to Motherscab, a leading taxi service, focusing on customer service and experience is critical for competing with ride-hailing apps. Seeking rider feedback, providing discounts and rewards, truthfully advertising service quality, and going the extra mile to keep customers happy and attract referrals can help retain loyalty. With many options today, excellent service and helping riders promote taxis are essential. Science Direct notes that uneven regulations between traditional taxis and ride-sharing create an unlevel playing field. Establishing a consistent regulatory framework could address issues around safety, insurance, pricing, and more. For instance, regulating minimum insurance coverage across the for-hire industry would standardize liability requirements. The paper suggests reviewing supply caps on medallions, while yellow taxis undeniably face substantial obstacles in the age of ride-sharing. Pathways exist for them to remain viable urban transportation options. Adopting technology like e-hailing apps and electric vehicles can help yellow cabs cater to modern rider preferences and sustain their brand identity. Providing excellent customer service and strategic partnerships with platforms like Uber also hold promise. Most crucially, updated regulations that create a level playing field and support taxi driver livelihoods are imperative. With determined innovation and policy reforms, New York City's iconic yellow taxis can evolve to meet changing mobility needs. Their rich history and integral role in the transit network position them to survive if they can successfully adapt. The years ahead will test whether yellow cabs can transform their challenges into opportunities.